and we're going to dive into some high school swimming here for the next couple of minutes with Egg Harbor Township coach Mark Jamieson, coaches the girls and the boys over there for the Eagles. Good morning, Mark.
Morning. How are you, Dave?
Hey, how's it going, bud?
Doing great. How about you?
So you're in the pool, obviously, right?
Yeah, we're midway through practice right now. You know, we get in 7 to 10 on Saturdays, so you know it's the happy point for the kids to get a little recovery right now. But
7 to 10, take it easy on these kids, coach.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're one of those sports where easy doesn't work out too well.
Yeah, right.
But no.
Go ahead.
I don't say they buy into it. They like it.
Yeah, it's kind of a lifestyle with the swimmers. I mean, they're all into it. If you're into swimming, you got to kind of be all in.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely a sport that if you put it in, you're going to get it back out. So it's always nice to see like the rewards at the end of the season after putting the grind in through Christmas break and waking up not seeing the sun. So we're almost at that fun part of the season where everybody puts on suits and goes their best time. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, a lot of times with these pools at the high schools, I know like at Mainland, I'm not sure if it's the same way at Egg Harbor Township, but they're kind of obligated to let the public use the pool as well. So it can be tough to get pool time, kind of like ice hockey, where you kind of maybe have to practice at 11 at night or 5 in the morning. So kind of the same thing with high school swimming, right? You got to get in there for practice early in the morning, maybe 5 o'clock in the morning, come back in the afternoon. So you have to be pretty dedicated to be in that sport. It's not like you can just kind of show up and be part of the team and not really work hard.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's one of those things where you always got to work out with the community and the people that are using the pool. We share our pool space with the Egg Harbor Township Seahawks here, and it's good to see our feeder programs and things coming through. But definitely a balancing act between the hours you're allowed in the building and the hours you can practice with, not overdoing it for the kids, because obviously amongst being good athletes and committed, they're also very dedicated to the classroom. So you try to have a nice balance. And I think so far everything's been working great this year. And the kids understand that nobody likes waking up early in the morning, but it's something that's a necessary evil for one of these sports.
Talking with Mark Jamieson, Egg Harbor Township swim coach. And Mark, wanted to kind of dive into your program a little bit here and kind of ask you how you've become pretty much the dominant swimming program here in the Cape Atlantic League. Obviously, it goes in cycles. Mainland has been great for the last couple of years. Ocean City girls were the best team for a long time, and now you've beaten them on the girls' side for the last 2 years. A couple of big wins over Mainland earlier this week. The boys, first time in any of those careers for your guys that they had beaten Mainland. Obviously, Mainland had won 51 straight before losing to Prep and then losing to you guys. So a little bit of a shift in the dominance factor in the Cape Atlantic League. How do you explain that? Is it just a matter of getting good swimmers in, or is it a cycle? You get a couple great athletes. What's behind building up a swim program?
I think the recipe for success with swimming is obviously we're very fortunate to have a feeder program here that kids grow up swimming, and it's a sport that they've gone, and then whether they've started young and learned the fundamentals and then come to me, or whether they're swimming club currently, and then we get a couple kids that are just high school athletes that hop out, that have kind of the story like myself. They had a friend that swam, they came to high school, and the winter sport they were doing, they decided to hop over into swimming, whether it was to make a beach patrol. But I think the big recipe is one, having a school that allows you to have a facility is unbelievable. Having a pool in the high school is a great advantage. Then secondly, and probably the most important, is having feeder programs that have kids in the community that has swimming even in their options as a kid growing up. You see part of the reason why there's been so much parity between us and Mainland and even Ocean City in the past couple of years is all three have feeder programs that dump into their high schools. And if you look at the state powers, it's true for everywhere. If you look at West Windsor, Plainsboro South, they're right across from Y. If you look at the Cherry Hill East, they all swim for Wahoos. And so the USA Swimming, unlike many sports, the club aspect really pays off into the high school, like teams, as in a couple of years ago, there was more rules defined that made it harder for a club athlete. They almost had to pick, am I going to do high school or club? And now that the rules have changed a little bit where they can train the majority of the days with their club or train with their high school, it's really opened up doors to the top end athletes swimming for the high schools. And that's where you see our team get so much depth. Because like I said, in my pool right now, I have about, 50 kids, but I have another 50 on my roster that'll swim somewhere else later on today, whether it's, Egg Harbor Township Seahawks, OC Sea Serpents, Pleasantville Aquatics. And so that just helps us be a balanced team, and it makes our 6-lane pool become an 18-lane pool because, kids are getting the workout in the space and the times that they deserve and need to progress in the sport.
Coach, one of the tough things for any swim coach is keeping the chemistry going when you have all these club swimmers who aren't necessarily at practice every day, and they kind of – it's a little bit weird dynamic. They might just kind of show up for the meets, and all of a sudden you have the kids who are with you every day who may not be club swimmers, and they're kind of pushed to the back burner as you get these stars into the lineup. How do you manage that where you have these great swimmers who are club swimmers who are practicing with their club on a majority of the basis, and then you have to kind of all come together for meets?
I think a big part is just an understanding and appreciation of what goes in, and being an analytic sport makes it a lot easier. If you did the same type of formula in soccer, which I coach over here with Coach Lambert for forever, there's a big club environment in soccer, but soccer doesn't have right in front of your face analytics. So for, a swimmer, it's very easy. In a certain event, this person goes this speed. And, whether they're putting in the hard work at my practice, at somebody else's practice, we all hold everybody accountable for they have to be doing the minimum, whether they're here or somewhere else, of what we do. So the kids, not only understand the speed side of it where, there's no arguing that if, Billy is better than Johnny because Billy goes this speed in the 50 and Johnny goes that speed. So they know that part of it, and they understand that it's not like they're leaving here and getting an easier workout. We're all about par. The difference is it's just the yearly commitment is a little bit different for some of them. Some of them have multiple sports. Some of them are doing doing the idea of getting more repetition in at a club, doing all year round. Other ones have job obligations in the off season. So they understand the balance, and we really don't have too many issues with that. We do a lot of things to make ourselves a team, whether it's getting together in the preseason, doing some inter-squad meets during the week, and everybody filters through the high school practice about a day or two a week, if not more. And we're very fortunate, like I said before, the majority of our club swimmers swim at our pool. So there's about an hour of the practice where, it's the club kids are doing their dry land on deck, and the high school kids are finishing up their swim practice. So it feels as if we're just having another group because we already swim. Our high school practice is 3 different training groups. So we'll have our beginner group swimming early while our other group's doing dry land, and the distance group's doing a little bit more yardage. So that kind of idea just plays into it, and we just see it as one big family, and we don't object to it. We just look at it as another training group that goes through it, and I look at every one of my club coaches and talk to them and figure out where the training and the goals for the kids are, to try to make the best season for them, because at the end of the day, teams first, but, our athletes are definitely our priority, and the top end athlete we want to see have the best opportunity to swim fast per year to set them up to swim out after high school season's done, whether it's in a club or a national level, or, and then our goal is obviously to get our kids to swim in college later on in life. Talk with
Mark Jamieson, head swimming coach for Egg Harbor Township, and coach, buddy of mine, Mike Schneider, coaches the Vineland girls, and he was telling me one time that having all those kids at their club practices actually can benefit the team as a whole, because you as the high school coach get to work with some of the more novice swimmers and beginners and kind of bring them along and get them confident in what they're doing, and spend a little more individual time with swimmers that are trying to become better and maybe start joining the club as they're in high school.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's what we say, we make the pool bigger. If I brought all of my 78 swimmers between the boys and the girls teams in at once, you wouldn't have the opportunity to spread out and go the speed you need to go and diversify training for what they need for their specific events. Whereas, this makes the pool time have more opportunity for individual training. We have a coaching staff right now of 3, so it makes the eyes on the kids, the coach to swimmer ratio improves. And so it works out. It's a benefit for everybody. And the biggest thing is, like I said, kids come up with the fundamentals. So you don't have as many never swam before kids as some other teams that might have to work, and that's just always been something that we've had as kind of an ace in our back pocket. And like anywhere else, just because you have a club in your pool doesn't mean that all the swimmers are going to go to you because it's a regional program, but it does create the environment where swimming is something where, as a parent, if you're looking for your kid to get into a positive sport, it's a lifelong activity. Kids are academically overachieving. Every time I look, I'm always impressed with what we do in the classroom, and just really helps as far as the development and fundamentals. And then when they get to me, we just have to do some fine tuning, create season plans, and really have an open communication and an agreement on how we're taking the season. So it's definitely progressed and modified in the last decade in this area. And as you see, our teams in this area, as it progressed, have all improved. You got one of the best swimmers in high school ranks is Destin Lasco over at Mainland. But besides him, there's been a lot of top swimmers in this area. And then obviously St. Augustine's Prep is doing wonderful. They beat us and Mainland both by the same margin in a different way. But, we hope to see that both, all three, whether if it's Cedar Creek or Oakcrest in Group 2, Ocean City or Mainland in Group 3, and then St. Augustine's Prep with a parochial, we'd like to see us in Group 4 all compete for a state championship. And that's the goal of the Cal, is to show depth in sport.
Coach, real quick before we let you go, one of the things I've noticed the last 2-3 years or so in the difference in Egg Harbor Township swimming is maybe 3 years ago you guys were kind of hoping to be in the conversation for competing for a state championship. Now there's that confidence level that, hey, we can go out and maybe do this. I know there's some great competition in Group 4, but just the confidence level of these kids, they're beating Ocean City, they're beating Mainland, so they're really believing that they're one of the great teams in South Jersey now.
Absolutely. I mean, on the girls' side, the people may not realize it because of how the swimming works, and it's kind of overshadowed by who's winning locally, but they've been in the South Jersey final for the last 5 years, and they were able to beat Cherry Hill once. And on the boys' side, we made it to the semifinal the last 3, last year to the sectional final. And we've had a tough run because on the boys' side, we had to go through one of the best teams ever in the state, Mainland, the last 2 years, and then at the group level, we have to go through Cherry Hill, which is always a top 5 team. So it's been very interesting to see how we progress. But we have a great team atmosphere, and the kids buy in that why not us kind of mentality, and they're putting in the work. And we hope to see ourselves go and compete. And if everything goes our way, then we'll move on to the next round against a tough team, and we're up for the challenge each round that we go through. And we always just look forward to swimming a team like Cherry Hill East because it brings out the best in us.
Great stuff, Coach. We appreciate it. We're up against break. Got to let you go, but we appreciate you taking a few minutes. Good luck the rest of the way, man. We'll be keeping tabs on you.
I appreciate it.